Muy buenos días, apreciado presidente de la Asociación Paraguaya de Fútbol, Robert Harrison, presidente de la Conmebol, Alejandro Domínguez, compañeros ministros, miembros del Comité Ejecutivo, el Comité Estratégico, representantes de la FIFA. Es un gran honor para mí estar esta mañana y ciertamente me gustaría compartir una visión y principalmente con nuestros visitantes que vienen hoy en representación de la FIFA. Así que le voy a pedir al presidente y acá a los compañeros que me eximan. Voy a hablar en inglés. No quiero, I don't want to get lost in translation, and I want to make very clear what I'm going to say. I'm sure that for many people, they're still wondering why Paraguay. And of course, we can say that making in Uruguay after 100 years makes a lot of sense. It's coming back where everything begins. Argentina, 3 times, and the current world champion, is something that also makes a lot of sense. But if those countries have earned the privilege to be considered, I think that Paraguay has also a very, very important place in not only in the map of the sport, but in the map of the world. And the reason is that Asunción, our city, and we have our mayor here, is known as the mother of all cities. Almost 500 years ago, when the first Spaniards arrived to this part of the continent, they first got to what is known today Buenos Aires. They arrived to the port of Buenos Aires, but they couldn't stay there because they found a very hostile indigenous community. So they were looking for silver and gold, imagine, 500 years ago. So they started navigating the Silver River, the Rio de la Plata. They were looking for silver. And in 1537, they arrived to where we are now. And they founded the port Nuestra Señora de la Asunción, what is today our capital city. And they settled here. They didn't settle here because of geography. It was very hard to get here. It was not at the sea level. So the question is why they settled here, why they made the center of the colonization Asunción. And the only reason it was the people. They found a different indigenous community. They found the Guaraníes, who were the inhabitants of this part of the world. And the Guaraníes, they were very friendly, hardworking, very committed. And the process of arriving from more Spaniards, it was more deep here in Paraguay than in any other part of South America. The expedition that founded the city of Buenos Aires left Asunción. Buenos Aires was founded from an expedition of Asunción and another 70 cities. So Asunción is known as the mother of all cities. A couple of centuries later, the Spaniards decided that they want to do more. They sent the Jesuit missions, and it was again the area of Paraguay, the center for the process of evangelization. And that's why Paraguay is such a Catholic people, and we are very conservative. This is a conservative society, and this is something that we take a lot of pride because we think that family is very important on the core of our society. This comes from hundreds of years ago. This is not from today. So the question is what happened over the course of the centuries. By 1850, Paraguay was by far the most advanced country in Latin America. We have steam trains, we have developed a lot of production capacity, but more importantly, we have eradicated analphabetism. The country invested in people. That was our most important characteristic. Our most important resource was the people. A couple of years later, in 1864, we entered into a war. We went to a war against our neighbors, Argentina, Brazil, and Uruguay. And for 6 years, we fought that battle. That war was aimed to eliminate Paraguay from the face of the earth. But it couldn't. But it severely damaged the country and the process of development of Paraguay. We lost 60% of the territory. We lost 90%, 90, of the population, mostly the male population. And the country was left as an open grave for centuries. And since then, over the last 150 years, Paraguay has been recovering. In the last 35 years, Paraguay has been the fastest growing economy in Latin America. We have a strong democracy. We are building strong institutions. And we have doing this process of catching up. So we think that Paraguay not only is at the heart of the South American football, we think Paraguay is the heart and soul of Latin America. And this opportunity, the 2030, will be a testimony of the resurgence of this giant, what we call Paraguay. I'm very proud to be part of a society. This is not only a government, this is the society at large that is committed with a country, is committed with a purpose, is committed with the people. And of course, our commitment goes beyond our responsibility, goes beyond our administration, because for 2030, I won't be president. There is no re-election in Paraguay. My mandate goes up to 2028. But I can assure you that whoever comes will maintain the same commitment. I went to the first meeting in Buenos Aires in 2017. We met with President Macri, and we thought about the idea of having a World Cup coming back to South America. I was Minister of Finance at that moment. And I can tell you that this is something that will make a huge impact in the history of Paraguay, in the present, in the future of Paraguay. And we're going to do everything what is needed to make this not only another event, but make this the greatest event. And of course, we're not going to be only competing with previous tournaments in other parts of the world. We know that we're also going to be competing with what will be the inaugural game in Montevideo, what will be the inaugural game in Buenos Aires. And I can assure you that the one that we're going to have here in Asunción is going to make honor to the name of the mother of all cities, and it will be the greatest event among the three of that. I'm sure that there's a lot of questions on security. There's a lot of questions on infrastructure. We're going to comply with all of them. Paraguay is, again, last year and will be again the fastest growing economy. We have sound finances. We have ample access to financing. As a former Minister of Finance, I take very seriously the amount of money that is allocated, but I have the testimony of most of the infrastructure that you're going to see next to this building was built during the time I was Minister of Finance. I financed most of this infrastructure for the Olympic Park. I will put all the efforts working with the mayor to make sure that the infrastructure is going to be appropriate. We are in the process of building a new train that will mobilize a lot of people around the country. We are in the process of building a new airport. This is something that has been in the making and the thinking for many, many years. We have now the project, so we think that the bidding process will be during this year. So by 2030, we're going to have probably one of the best airports in South America and the most modern. And we're working very hard in opening more lines of more flights to Paraguay. And one of the things that we're working is to make Paraguay a logistic hub. We are already in terms of the waterway. Paraguay has the third largest fleet of barges in the world after China and the Mississippi. We are a landlocked country, but we are surrounded by huge rivers that not only allow us to mobilize goods, but also to generate electricity. Paraguay is the #1 in clean renewable energy. We have the largest hydro plant in the world, Itaipu, and we have another one that is called Yacyretá. So when you look at the colors of Paraguay, definitely Paraguay is a green country. This country has sustainability seal all over the place. 44% of all the territory is covered by forest, and we are among the largest food producers in the world, but we are doing it in a way that is sustainable and is in line with sustainability practices. We are a blue country, despite not having a sea, but we are surrounded by these huge rivers that is something that you cannot imagine. If you think that the Amazon is probably where you're going to find most of the sweet water in the world. Well, the way how the Amazon gets the water from the Pantanal to the ocean, it goes just around Paraguay, over two big rivers, the Paraguay River and the Paraná River. And these are the rivers that allow us to mobilize goods, but also to produce electricity. But again, and going back to what makes this country great in the past, of course, we are very proud about the water that we have and the green of our land, but our main feature and what will make a huge success the inaugural game in Asunción in 2030, it's its people. It's the Paraguayan people, and this is something that we have inherited from our indigenous communities, the Guaranis. This is why we still maintain an official language which is spoken by most of Paraguayans. 90% of Paraguayans is bilingual in Spanish and Guarani. It's an official language, the only country in South America that maintain this. And this is part of our roots, it's part of our culture, it's part of where we come from. And we're definitely committed to put Paraguay on the map, and the World Championship will allow us to do this faster. Thank you very much.